But I do want to talk about someone else who is having a bit of a hot streak right now, and that's Ryan Murphy. Can you elaborate?
Yeah, he's been a bit of a whipping boy with the showrunner community. These are the showrunners are the core of what we watch on television. And the hotshot name has been for years now Shonda Rhimes.
Yes.
And she, off of the success of Grey's Anatomy, she signed to Netflix. Now, it was a bit of a controversy because Ryan was signed to a $300 million deal, as reported. Shonda was signed to a $150 million deal, as reported. And Shonda kept having hit after hit after hit. And Bridgerton, massive hit. Inventing Anna, massive hit. Whereas Ryan Murphy shows, they just weren't quite grabbing it. But then came Dahmer.
And what was he working on? Let's just back it up really quick. Before Dahmer came along, what were his shows?
Well, I think the last sort of household name that he was attached to was Glee.
Okay.
It's these shows that everyone just
that
hear
generational
it,
show, yes.
Yeah. He did American Horror Story. He tends to like the darker stuff, where Shonda kind of likes the more socially trendy kind of things. Anyway, Dahmer, I don't know if you've seen it. It's creepy, it's weird, it's disturbing, it's fascinating, and it's very well acted. It's got a fantastic cast. And right on the heels of that comes another sort of creepy story, The Watcher, in time for Halloween. Another great cast, really well acted, terrific story, and Dahmer is one of the biggest successes Netflix has seen yet. Watcher is close behind. So the people who were loved snickering, saying Ryan shouldn't have gotten that kind of money, they might be eating their words right now.
So do you think he's worth that big of a contract?
That's a question for Ted Sarandos at Netflix to answer. Many would say no. Shonda has proven her worth, and Shonda has told this to us before. She said, I have no shame, I'm paraphrasing, no shame about demanding that I get paid for what I deliver, and I deliver. Ryan, and so she's been able to go back and negotiate. They get bonuses and bumps, and they can renegotiate every time there's success and say, more money, please.
Yeah, and those shows, I couldn't turn them off. Inventing Anna, Bridgerton.
They're great.
They were great, and I watched them, with my mom and sisters. Everyone of every generation was loving them. Is she getting paid like Ryan Murphy now?
That's the big question. So the $300 million and $150 million, those are the numbers that agents like to put out there. If everything went according to plan, yes, over the 5 or 8 year period, I forget what it is, Ryan would get $300 million, possibly even more. And if everything went according to plan, Shonda would get that one. Shonda's gone back and renegotiated. We haven't nailed that number down completely, but we will. And it's north of 200, I'm sure. So they are probably making about the same amount of money because she's been able to go back and say, see, I delivered.
Yes.
See, I delivered. He hasn't yet been able to do that. But Netflix, I don't think Netflix was sitting there saying, oh, God, Ryan Murphy's actually not a good showrunner. We never should have signed him. I'm sure they were just working with him to find that product that worked.
Yeah.
And now they get 2 in a row. So he may not even need to renegotiate. They may be so happy that their bet is paying off that they just threw him $25 million and said, let's keep doing this crime stuff.
Yeah. Because his first few shows were a bit of misses. Hollywood, I saw The Politician was decent, but
Hollywood was difficult to watch.
It was a 1 season, and that was tough. And I think that came out during the pandemic, so it was one of those times, you really had nothing better to do other than watch it.
Yeah.
But the other 2 shows are super successful, making Netflix history. But both Ryan Murphy and Shonda Rhimes did start off showrunners in traditional television.
Yes.
Do you think this Netflix deal for both of them is paying off?
Oh, without a doubt. Without a doubt. The network syndication market has dried up. Those economics really don't exist.
So there's no comparison even?
No. I mean, if you were to look at the economics of 1990s, early 2000s television, no, they're getting ripped off. I mean, Jerry Seinfeld made, and Larry David, hundreds of millions of dollars over the course of years, and they keeps
and they're still
because
making it, right?
It's still being syndicated.
Yeah.
Now, you can't reproduce that because you're not marketing to thousands of television stations across the country, let alone across the world.
Yeah.
So those kind of economics don't exist. As one attorney in the television business put it, they have all the equity now. They've taken away my home run.
Mm-hmm.
All I have left are singles and doubles. So what Shonda and Ryan can get are singles and doubles. Shonda, I would argue, is getting a triple. Ryan was paid a triple, probably ended up with a double, and now is working his way back to triple. So there's no home runs left anymore. That's the problem.
So we talked earlier about Taylor, holding the mantle when it comes to the music industry. Who's holding the mantle as a showrunner, do you think, right now? Ryan Murphy or Shonda Rhimes?
Well, Ryan's got the spotlight now. Everybody's talking about him. I can guarantee you that Shonda will be front and center again with her next show. I mean, she could flop, of course, but she hasn't yet.
Yes.
I don't know. Hard to say. I'm not an agent in television, but I would argue that she's probably the hottest showrunner in the business. But then there's all sorts of like Warren Littlefield helps produce. He didn't showrun, but he helped produce The Handmaid's Tale, which is also a massive hit.
Yeah.
So there's lots of great television out there. They got the two biggest deals, and so all the attention is on them and how they deliver on them.